another major issue there is if you don't have prescription drug coverage, you start to incur a lifetime penalty for 1% every month without coverage.
So your final message essentially is don't wait, take a closer look at your plan now, because this could be a plan that maybe you've had for years, but essentially could be changing?
Definitely. There are a couple plans in there that have been around a very long time. So a lot of folks will just let their plan roll over from year to year. This is 1 year more than ever to actually look at your Medicare plan.
More than 67 million Americans 65 years or older are enrolled in Medicare. This is a very important time of the year for them because open enrollment started about 2 weeks ago, and there are major changes you need to be aware of for next year. Now, we can't get into all of them this morning since there's several, but we're breaking it down. So right now, for example, we're going to focus on network changes. Some of you may have received a letter from Ascension St. Vincent's telling you that your Medicare Advantage plan is no longer going to be accepted by Ascension. Now, Bill Green is a Medicare broker and is joining us this morning to explain what this means for you. Good morning. Thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so would you explain what these letters are essentially telling people?
So every year, the Medicare plans and hospital networks, doctors' offices go through contract negotiations. And just this year, it seems like Ascension St. Vincent's and WellCare, as well as Devoted, have decided that they're not going to be working together next year.
So WellCare and Devoted then are Medicare Advantage plans.
Correct.
Now, what's interesting about this is while most people should be receiving some kind of notification in the mail, you know, there's a tendency, if someone has moved addresses, and that they may not even realize this change has happened until they end up going to the doctor and they're told that this is an issue?
Exactly. There were a lot of people who just throw it away thinking it's junk mail, and then others will, again, have moved, not see it. And the surprise will come in January when they go to see their doctor and they're told, sorry, we can't see you, or it's a much higher cash price.
And people who are 65 and older, let's make an assumption here, they tend to maybe see the doctor more often because we all do as we get older, and you become really kind of emotionally attached to your doctors. It's somebody that you've maybe been seeing for years and years. This can be a real blow to people. Absolutely.
So we're getting lots of calls about this, and more often than not, people want to change their plan, say change their doctor, because, yeah, they have a relationship with them. They don't want to lose that.
So what options do they have then if this is what's happening with them, if they are, for example, WellCare or Devoted patients?
So there are a plethora of other Medicare Advantage plans to pick from, or they could always go to original Medicare. The issue with going to straight Medicare by itself is that if they do that without any sort of secondary, they have an unlimited 20%. So they want to make sure they can at least qualify for a secondary, a supplemental plan if they choose to go back to straight Medicare.
Now, when you say unlimited 20%, would you explain that?
Yeah, so Medicare by itself, on the doctor's office side of things, is an 80-20. Medicare pays 80%, the consumer or Medicare beneficiary pays 20%. So if they have just straight Medicare and nothing else, they would have a 20% without any sort of cap on it.
Right, which is, and so many people who are 65 and older that, they live on a limited income, that could be a big change for them.
It definitely could. So we very rarely, if ever, recommend someone go to straight Medicare with nothing else. Again, they can choose from a different Medicare Advantage plan. We have plenty that will have Ascension St. Vincent Network, or if they can qualify by answering some health questions, they could go to a Medicare supplement,
which is also an option. I feel like we have been hearing about, these kinds of changes between hospital systems or medical systems and then what they cover. We went through everything associated with Baptist. There was Florida Blue as well. And Florida Blue patients, the reality is, funny, I was just in a doctor's office probably a week and a half ago, and I heard this conversation going on where people, again, may not even realize if they're in the Florida Blue network that something has changed for them, particularly Medicare, until they literally go to the doctor or call to make an appointment.
Yes. So that is, the specialists in hospital are back in network on Florida Blue, primary care or not. And there are people who are going to the doctor's office and expecting to see their primary care, and they can see them, but they'll pay the full cash price.
UF Health and Flagler also been going through this over the last couple of months?
Yes, that happened over the summer, and at this point, Aetna and United Healthcare didn't come to a new negotiation. Again, there are plenty of other plans people can pick from if they want to maintain those doctors without paying a higher cost.
So now it's my understanding then 15% of Medicare Advantage plans are no longer going to be offered then coming up next year in 2025. So what should people do if they're not sure if their plan's included in this, or if they realize that their plan is included and they need to shop it around?
So that 15% is locally. That's local Medicare Advantage plans that won't be offered next year. So they should have gotten a letter already from their plan saying your plan will be offered next year and you have some unique options. The thing to do is to reach out to us or some other Medicare broker and make sure they have coverage for next year. Because if their plan is exiting, the issue there is they won't even have drug coverage next year.
Which is huge, given the fact that so many are on some kind of prescription drug, and sometimes they can be very expensive as well.
Yes, and another major issue there is if you don't have prescription drug coverage, you start to incur a lifetime penalty for 1% every month without coverage.
Can you give us some perspective? Because I know you and I have been playing phone tag because you have been so busy meeting with clients.
Yes.
Can you give us some perspective of how many people, for example, in our area will be impacted by these changes? You know, just a rough estimate.
We don't have any raw numbers. I would say definitely thousands, maybe 10,000, because there's, again, it's 15% of the plans locally just won't be offered next year.
So your final message essentially is don't wait, take a closer look at your plan now, because this could be a plan that maybe you've had for years, but essentially could be changing?
Definitely, there are a couple plans in there that have been around a very long time. So a lot of folks will just let their plan roll over from year to year. This is 1 year more than ever to actually look at your Medicare plan.
Bill, thank you for your time this morning.
Absolutely,
I appreciate
thank you.
it. So you're going to join us on November 11th, where we're going to talk specifically about why Medicare plans are important for veterans. And we're also going to take a closer look also at the changes with prescription drugs.
Absolutely,
I
look forward to it.
appreciate you very much.